Hello, initiates, sovereigns, scribes, bro stars, sis stars, and young stars. It is, I think, Moon Day Dynamo, the 24th of Feb. I apologise for my croaky voice. 1 minute. Me. We're back. I'm just having a gossip chat, chin wag with Kev. He's on the line here, brother Kevin. That is. I've had quite a manic 24 hours. I was at Manchester yesterday picking up her fam, and then to bed at 2 a.m. Up at 7 after 5 hours sleep, and then busy Moon Day activities, and then we're just winding up with brother Kev here, and I'm conscious I'd got this queued up, so I invited him to come in, and do you want to say hello, brother?
Let me leave. Evening, everybody. Hope everybody's all right.
Yeah.
For a wonderful Monday. Yes, Monday. God, getting good at this. Getting good at getting the hang of these days. Anyway, I hope you're all right. Yeah, we were just having a chat, and then he sprung it on me, chained me to the post, and said, "You're coming on live, lady." So here we are. We were having a nice little natter as mates and just shooting the breeze and talking about this, that, and the other, and here we are. So good evening and welcome.
Dream like this. We got issues.
Oh no, it started again.
I'm back. It looks good. We'll see how we go. We'll keep an eye on it to see how we go, fam. Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, I was conscious of the state of the roads. I've seen some massive, really ridiculous, massive erosion of our roads.
Erosion.
Jim Carrey style, and easy. Yeah, it was. I would consider water one of the most erosive elements. I know there's acids and there's diamond tipped, etc. But water over time just about destroys any mineral material element, doesn't it? You've seen what it does. So we have some jet stream issues. I'm not claiming anything. I've done a bit of looking around and temperatures and things. I just thought I'd have a look, and streams, we're casting a stream, streams, money, currency, rivers, oceans, of seas, and streams. I just thought I'd incorporate that in there because of
revenue streams.
Yeah, there's a lot of lunar cycles and grand solar, etc. So it's not so much a far out chat. It's just that we'll say go on.
The effect the moon has on water, don't we? And we are made of a lot of it.
Yeah, we're in an environment that's changing. We are changing our minds, our consciousness. With Gaia, to some extent, it is changing. Things are happening, and this little island, the British Isles, has had a downpour. I'd say that one of these jet streams was to precipitation. Is it what they say? I'm not. I'm not. But I've been watching videos. This is why it's in my mind, these words. But when the precipitation hits the jet streams, they just carry it and they formulate the cloud systems. And if you have opposing jet streams, it's kind of good. It works out when cold and hot meet, then that will create extra, turbulent situations again. And we had Gulf streams, and since a little boy, I've seen the news and the weather and how it, allegedly, I'm aware of the flat Earth and the round and the debate we're having with the. So I know you're all on different sides of the fence, and I won't presume, but it's led to you on the satellite imagery how things are going, and the ice caps melting and global warming, and equity comes into the realm of us, to how we will benefit from it if we can look after it. And to look after it, we have to function as, I don't know, sentient trustees. And that brings me on to technology. The technology that we have and that we use is quite negative. And to encapsulate that, when I heard in Dr. Sam Osmanovic in the Bosnian pyramid tell me that the ions and the rays of the pyramid, the ravine system, not the pyramid, the ravine system approaching the Bosnian of Viseko Hill, and he said that it's on the Schumann resonance of 7.83 to round about 8 megahertz on the Hertzian frequency. And he says that when you go outside, it will oscillate to about, and this was on the Viseko Hill in Bosnia and Herzegovina. He says you'll go out and it will be measured, and they've had loads of scientists go out there and measure it, the radio emittance frequency, solar bombardment and everything. And he went deep into it, bless him. He knows his stuff, and he tells you that it affects you. You get affected. He says that man's made technology that interferes with the radios and the frequencies that our cells and our reproductive and our biorhythms operate on, and these are recorded and known by governments. And when we make tech, it's like we make it, the mobile phones, there you go, when they come out, warning, mobile phone, warning, cancer, brain cells, cooking, frying, leave it there. Mobile phone masts, 5G. I could go on. I haven't got a list here, but I have in my head, and it could go on quite some time. Microwave cookers. Oh yeah, when you've cooked your food in the microwave, leave it a minute. Yeah, but then when you've eaten food, it looks like in the blood system, the victim of a cancer treatment. What did Josh say now? You look like when you've eaten microwave food, the blood of someone who's eaten microwave food resembles the blood of a something patient, and I forget what he said, radiotherapy or chemotherapy. Yeah, he did say. So there's another technology. Cigarettes, they're great for you. Smoke them. They clear your chest. Actually, sorry, cigarettes aren't great for you. Stop smoking them, everybody. Oh, you're addicted.
We didn't finish our sentence. Smoke cigarettes, they clear your chest of healthy tissue. We hadn't finished our sentence.
So the technology, well done, Kevin. Yes, I like it.
Sorry, mate.
It's bad. The petrol, the benzene, it used to have lead in it, didn't it, everybody? And then they went, oh, actually, we've been caught here. We can't keep doing this, and it's having negative effects on plants and life and general well-being. Just after they removed the lead pipes that gave you water.
So, well, yeah, there's still a lot of places with them, mate.
There's a claim now.
Believe me.
There's a claim in physics that light is the fastest travelling, mode. I forget the speed, but I'm sure one of the scribes can look at it.
176,000 and something.
Miles an hour.
An hour.
So I take 176,000 miles an hour. Thank you, Kev. Scribes, check that. How close is Kev?
Yeah.
Please.
Miles away.
And so that's the given by Einstein's theory of relativity and whatnot, and as we've been said by the academic societies. And this Bosnian pyramid, with the technology of which I was interested in just for archaeological reasons, I didn't know it had waters and energy fields. It's a pyramid built on a natural energy field, I would say. If it is a pyramid and it's looking like it could possibly, I would say, yes, I believe it is. It's functioning anyway, because 4 different scientists from different parts of the world at different times with different equipment, their own equipment, independent of RED, the 7.83 megahertz Schumann resonance inside the ravines. They've come out and measured the pyramid at the top with drones and all their technology, giving out a signal. It's got an 8-meter bandwidth, and it goes up. And when it goes up and it goes thin to a point, and then it goes big fat again, like a Christmas tree shape. Think of an ever going Christmas tree. Or if you're a DJ, musician, artist, and you've edited audio on an audio suite, you'll see a sound wave file, and sometimes they go weird. Like, you get pretty ones and like unique ones, and if you're messing with MIDI synths and looping and making effects, you can it's very creative what you can do and how you see, the wave formats depicted. So a Christmas tree shape, and
Yeah.
these scientists have found that it travels faster than the speed of light, this radio signal, and it goes and it follows the sun. And we have all this fabulous technology. This is just some a tip of the iceberg of some of the stuff that we have that we could harness and use and get better with. And yeah, our roads and the engines, the technology, how we've got these green charges. This is where I'm finishing up. I'm yielding soon. I'm getting to the point. You go around these cities and to combat this terrible, acid rain and the pollution and whatnot, what do we do as sentient, civilized, intelligent man? We charge ourselves for driving, out of date, 120-year-old out of date, suppressed oil burning fossil fuel, cancer giving, killing machines of combustion engines. And we charge ourselves to take these old out of date engines into cities that we need to go into in order to combat. And I'm like, hang on. So the only person that wins is the one that collects that money for those green charges, yes? Wow.
Fucking hell. Don't, mate. Don't even get me going with this shit, because it's what amazes me, right? They go, now one of the ways out of this is we're going to have to charge you more taxes on them. And you think, hang on a minute. The choices of fuels, you control. You control that. So we don't have any choice about the fuels. Not enough choice at the moment about the fuels we use. So why are we paying the taxes on the only choices? Why are not you, the suppliers, paying the taxes or putting some fucking money in alternatives properly? Why are we paying the taxes on something we have no choice but to use? It's ridiculous.
Yes.
There you go. That's me in there. But yeah, it's just ridiculous.
It's the same reason.
Saying to you about the roads, wasn't it, a minute ago?
Oh yes, go on, get it in. Let's go while it's fresh.
So we were talking about the roads, state of them. Let's face it, they're all shit mostly. And I was saying it was either just in the lead up to the election, which wouldn't be surprising, but I actually think it was after he'd been elected, our Boris. I say that in the loosest sense of our. And he said, I'm going to put another 2 billion towards the roads. And my immediate thought was, well, hang on a minute. What about the road tax and all the fines and all that supposedly go back into the roads? And why would you even have to think? It should be that 2 billion is a complete piss in the ocean of the money that's been collected. So can you just explain where that money is? Why have you got to put another 2 billion of taxpayer money in? Surely there should be enough there already. Where is it? What? We all know where it is, but ask the question. So I said, why don't people just go, well, hang on a minute. So where's all that money gone then? That you got from fines and road tax and whatever.
Yes,
where was it gone?
I did mention that somebody King from the AA, and that collects all of the fines and the PCNs and stuff that's paid to the local government. That was a claim that was made by Sir Godfrey Bloom at the time when I put that video on Facebook, where he come on saying, if you go 1 mile over the hour at such and such in South Yorkshire or whatever, then. And he was protesting, and he was the chairman of the road safety something, and he had 40 years of no claims, and he thought he had a pinnacle place, which he probably does. Chairman of a driving association with 40 years no claims. He's a fine suited man to talk about driving safety and standards and where the embezzlement of the sweat equity.
They've had an accident, seen hundreds.
Yeah, that's it. And he came out, bless him, and said, I'm sure it wasn't Jonathan King, but somebody King of the AA at the time was collecting the pennies, and it wasn't going to where we thought it would go. And if they say you've been caught on a smart motorway for it's an infraction, isn't it? It's not a crime, it's an offence, it's an infraction, and you're driving driver is then duly charged with a Road Traffic Management Act safety infraction and an offence, and the points and the fees, and whomever gets awarded to, and that money, those fees and points, extra insurance, the whole system is rigged for safety, but we just pay out all the time. So when it comes to the global or realm-wide, safety aspect of clean air and not killing the animals and plants, the thumbnail Enoch ties into the ones that have done the extra diligence and research and know about the machines and the architects and Gaia and the big life organ that we may be on that's controlling things and changing, or it could be geothermal modulation, it could be from the chems, it could be from an amazing amount of, it could be the fact that we're all focusing on it and making it happen. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's insane, but go on, Kev.
It is insane. It is insane, mate. No, as I say, it's just amazing. The same thing as with the, we're just saying about the fuel. Oh, you're all gonna have to pay more money. But hang on a minute, we have no choice. You're the fuckers. All the money you're getting, you're the ones that should be coming up with new shit. They fucking keep coming to us and going, well, you're gonna have to pay more. Need another yacht.
And the price of oil barrels, because of global, foreign war policy and invasions, and that drops and whatever. They don't pass on the drop. It rises. They put it up straight away, and they fix and rig the petrodollar. When we've got hydrogen, we've got batteries. Yeah, we've got there's Stephen Greer and there's Nick somebody XMI thingy. Nick I forget his name now, and there's others disclosing. That looks like Angela Lansbury on acid in the Twilight Zone. What's the name that comes out? We're giving these disclosures and stuff. I forget her name, but she's a lady that talks about aliens under the ice and in the poles and stuff. But it's just.
You got me there.
What, the lady who does that? She's got. I always forget her name. She's got like a 3-barrel name. I'm just trying to compare them to them, but there's too many. There's too much disclosures. Who's in the room? We have been rude and not said hello. That's why I was pausing. Kev, have you had a look in and said?
Well, I've got the tablet on me. I've said hello in there, but I can't see anybody in the room. Even it says there's 13. I've got nothing up on my chat. How weird's that?
Press live chat. That's maybe. Have you got?
No, I've got that's on. What's happening? I've only got me.
On jets maneuvering in the crazy weather you've had over there across the pond. Easy, Lise. Nice to see you. Nice, Simon. All right, friends. Nice.
Oh, hello,
Jerry. What?
Oh,
you got
everything's arrived all of a sudden.
There we go.
Yeah, Lisa.
I only smoke
Simon.
when I walk fast. You need to Vaseline up your thighs, then, love. Sorry.
Jerry, Lisa, Simon. Who else is in? Quinn. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Equinox. Quinn's in the title. Slipped Quinn in the title. I did. Old Quinny there.
Oh, Sandra's in. Hello, Sandra. How you doing, darling? Good to see you. Oh, God, I don't know what happened there, but all of a sudden the screen filled up with people, so that's... I thought we'd bored them all, Dave. Yeah, so it's just been interesting. We had a little chat this morning, me and Dave, and then he just rang me. We're just chatting, and it's, as usual, 10-minute one turns into 2 hours, and here we are. Now we're broadcasting.
That's it. And we was having a chat about other private affairs tactics as such, syntactic tactics maybe, and I just thought I'd got this queued up, and it'd be rude not to invite your brother.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's all cool. So I'm just chilling anyway, so all good. And I'm quite up for it, actually. We were clearly in the sociable mood. The way we were rabbiting on.
I'd like to ask the scribes, if you've got a road in your area, I'd like to do a challenge. I'd like to collect a few video clips of with your consent. If you choose this initiates, what I need from you, or what I would like to ask from you, in this fine state of substance claims and whatnot. If you've got a road near you that's been affected, if you've got a road near you that's been affected by a storm recently, go and give it a hug, tell it it's going to be okay and we're going to fix it. And if you could film it and show me, I've seen a pothole. It's not even a pothole, it's a crater. It looks like an alien object is pounded down in the ground, at some point, and it's been removed. And there's just this, it's about half a foot deep, maybe a foot wide and probably 3 foot long. It's just like it's whatever's happened is if you was on a push bike or even a motor bike with one of them real thin 50s, with the old Vespas or the Piaggios and the Pops that have thin front wheels, you will do yourself injury. There's a lot in the dark travelling at night on the shifts 2 till 10 p.m. that they force us on. So when you're coming back at 10:30, there's a lot of you out there, a great deal of the workforce, as they have us labelled, and slave servitude. There's undue accidents and harm and injury about to happen because this landmass has taken considerably, amount of battering via a tiny equivalent to what's happened in Americas and, Hungary and that, with tornadoes and ice balls the size of tennis balls to sometimes a mini football. They smash car windscreens, they destroy crops, they kill cats and small. This is what I'm telling you. What we have, it is a storm. I'm not taking the mick, but on the grand scheme of things, it's not so bad. And if we can't cope with this in our tiny little infrastructure, and we're so reliant on technologies, and we don't stand much of a chance. No, it's quite sad to see what's happened and how we are. Snow, when it snows, or a whole comes to a standstill. The fact that we have this virus raging around, not raging, but it is kind of raging around the realm, and nobody's closed. We haven't all had a mandatory. Let's just everybody stop and just be safe and stop moving around, and let's just sort ourselves out. But we can't do that because this thing called commerce and pounds and money and profits need to be made, and markets can't stop. Perpetual debts do not stop accumulating, and so I would like to put it out there that if the money changes would allow it, we could all just stop for a little bit, have a rest, collect up. While we're there, I'd like to propose a debt amnesty, though.
Yeah,
if that's okay.
About it.
Yeah, man.
Anders, evening, mate.
Yeah. Just a chin wag, and I'm quite tired after what's happened. It's been a blurry 24 hours, but we've still got love for the scribes and a quick catch up. We've sent documents, we've sent emails. I rang both of the Anders, both of the who were they? Both of the who's. What are their names? I'm so tired. They're both called Alan. I rang the Alan of the Blair clan and Alan of the Stanley. I did the emails. We've caught up, Kev. We went on the .com. We had a chat on here, which was when we went old school. That was quite nice as well. I did say to Kev we might have to have a Bo Selector sesh, didn't I, earlier?
Yes. Yeah, you had a bit of a let's go back.
We'll have a quiz, things like that, TV shows, cartoons, music, and just for fun, no prizes.
Yeah, just for a giggle, yeah. Well, yeah, the prize is another 4 hours of Dave's undivided attention.
But also, because we're drifting, if you have got a poorly road near you, or do you have got something, then if you could just let me know when you upload it and stuff. I would like to make a montage of what go on, and I got the Transport Minister and the DVLA communication open, so I'd like to say for these green charges in cities, well, I've got a hybrid engine with a 0.02 emission on a 200,000 mile clock on an 05 plate 1.9 TDI diesel. It's nothing special. It's not modified. I've done it with a few £100 worth of plastic and household items with Eco Motors. So if we can do that, with a tiny bit of resources, and Eco Motors can, and then the product itself, anybody could make it. It's not secret technology. It's just unique. That's all it is. It's unique, and people pen them and copyright them and whatnot. But then we can still have open source tech, and governments invested some time, and the money that we're paying in green charges. Okay, so you don't have a license and you've not got a green engine, and you go in a city. What's going to happen when you go in that city with that dirty engine, with your unlicensed your vehicle there? You get your charge, but the pollution still happens. So we don't seem to tackle the problem. It's always with the money first, and then with the repairs afterwards. Shoot first, questions later. So we should look at the hybridization and the transformation onto systems like the roads that need the overhaul. That's not going to happen overnight. And the Olympics, it's still on, the roads and things and money and investment. You know what I've said about, I love every city and all of the British landmass and the Anglo Isles with 100% love, but there are some eyesores and bad cities around, and Birmingham is not a bad city. The people in it are not bad, but there are some shitholes. Let me tell thee, there are some proper eyesores, and the Olympics is coming to Birmingham.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, but I heard it with my own ears and my shell lights. I was like, hang on a minute, the Birmingham Olympics, really? That's going to take some polishing. Not because it's all horrible, but just because you can't go anywhere.
Good polish, though.
It's you can't park. When this is just Monday to Friday, can't just standard business going off. Full. It's just crazy. The travellers are mostly discourteous. They're under pressure. The roads keep changing. The settees and mattresses blowing around in the wind. It's hilarious. I'm sorry, Birmingham. There are other cities that, and your city's not all horrible.
Other cities are available.
But come, anybody that wants to challenge me, I will go live and show you periodically what I see. If you want me to prove the claim, I'd like to go one step further and say, if we had an established trust and stuff, we'd have ambassadors out there reporting in where there's dangers of rats here, there's dangers of vermin, what we need to do, and we get a team there and we'd do the job of which would be getting done now, but isn't, despite people coming and throwing stuff everywhere. We would manage that, we'd recycle it, we'd turn it around. One man's rubbish is another man's treasure, and be managed successfully, and we'd have reports or issues or instances coming in, and we'd be on it and we'd be utilising. So it's just a shame it's not happening now. The only reason it's not happening is a little thing called profit.
Yeah, which we're not part of that.
You can't speak. Stop trying to speak. I'm going to the room. It's the Commonwealth.
It's cold air. Sorry,
Commonwealth.
People.
There we go. I am tired. Well said, P9. The Commonwealth Games, not the Olympics. Nice one. Thank you, P9. You've saved
Might as well be the Olympics in Birmingham.
misinformation. Yeah, that's just the mind playing the tricks. I've had 5 hours kip and I'm ready for another at least 7. So yeah. You hadn't even got over last week, let alone the weekend. You're back into a new week already, mate. You had a tough old one last week, didn't you? Long and strong. Yeah, it's getting there. We're all right. It's a fine balance. We manage. We do.
Oh yeah, we have. What choice have we got, Dave? We can fall apart or crack on. And I'm all done with falling apart.
When I
had a year of that.
Yes, Anders. When I was living in Jamaica, there were songs about potholes. Yes, but what kind of potholes, Anders? What kind of potholes?
I've got remedy on the way. Cheers, Anders.
Lisa, we have a saying here about potholes. In England, they drive on the left-hand side of the road.
Yeah, go on.
We drive on what's left of the road.
Brilliant. Fair play, Lisa. I have heard something similar along those lines. I don't know if it came from your part of the world or not, maybe.
I'm trying to work out what P900's done, some interview. What's going on?
I think she was very well. I think there was some premiere last night. I'm not sure. Forgive me, Sandra. I don't know what's going on.
Robin. All right. Yeah, I don't. I'm behind. We're catching up, though. I did hear also on the not. I hope this one's not like the Olympics in Birmingham. Then, good lord, let's try and get this one accurate, David. No, I'm not even going to tell you. Let's just carry on. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go and hide in shame.
No, come on. Wait, we're all waiting for the story. Oh, dear me.
You're waiting for a lung transplant.
Yeah, the raisins have had enough. Oh, it's just cold air. That's all it is. As soon as I go inside, it will stop in 2 or 3 minutes.
All right, I will tell you. There was something on about FE. All right, it was definitely on the radio. Did anybody hear?
Blasphemer.
On Radio West Bromwich, they was going to be interviewing a homemade
Trying to prove the wall.
In a homemade rocket or something.
Yeah,
what's gone on?
Powered rocket.
I know.
Yeah, I watched him die yesterday.
Remember where you are, Kev. Show some decorum. You sovereign self-initiate.
It's a fact. I watched him die yesterday.
Oh my goodness, what's gone on?
I'll tell you what happened.
Please let me know. I don't know what's happened, but
right.
I know.
The story is.
I just can't wait. Paying everything. I'm just aware that they are seeming to be mentioning Earth and flat quite a lot across the media networks.
Yes.
There seems to be a frenzy. I thought we was banned about speaking, and all of a sudden, go on. Sorry, I yield.
So, adding nicely onto that. So the story is he's the guy that was going to do this before, shoot himself up there, take a picture of the wall, right?
The wall.
And it got called off. So he's done it this time. Now I watched it yesterday. It's a steam-powered rocket. So off it takes, beautiful for about the first 3 or 4 seconds. Then the landing parachute deploys and burns away. Breaks away. So he's now, the thing that's going to bring him softly down has gone.
Yes.
So up and up and up he went, and then down he came in a big puff of dust and shit.
Oh.
And he died. But can I just add the thing about the flat Earth? Now, there was other people on whatever I was looking at yesterday, probably YouTube, saying actually he was going for this flat Earth thing was bollocks. They're saying really, it's nothing to do with flat Earth, and he was trying to break the world record for this steam-powered rocket and the height. So there's a bit of confliction.
Okay.
Okay.
Injected dialogue, arbitrarily injected dialogue, is there?
Yeah, so that is what I have seen, and I have passed it on to you as I remember it from yesterday. But yeah, there was quite a few people going, no, it was nothing to do with flat Earth, it was a steam fan. Anyway, he died.
He passed away being...
God rest his soul.
Doing the
fair play to him, brave man, but it all went Pete Tong right from the off. And if he didn't know that parachute had come off, poor sod. He must, literally watched it coming right at him because it come down nose first.
Yeah. You couldn't eat
because it's so tragic, but it really is, say fair play to him. But so there's a bit of conflicting. I'm under the impression it was the same guy who tried a while ago and called it off, and that was all connected to the flat Earth. And he was going up high enough so he could take a picture and prove it was flat. There was no curvature, not the wall. Sorry, I added that.
The audio is as bad as me with the Olympics.
I just thought about it. It wasn't the wall. It was so he could prove that there was no curvature. That's what he was going up for. As far as I know, it was the same bloke that died doing that very thing yesterday. But the confliction is, it was some Guinness World Record attempt at some steam-powered rocket height thing.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I would like to have.
There was quite a lot. It wasn't one comment about it being that either. Quite a few people came in with that.
Well, let's face it, if man's taken the time to build a steam-powered homemade rocket, and he's not just done this overnight, so there must be an official place where he had a website, a domain, something where he's written what he's doing, and we'll find that out in due time then. But we'll just give all scientists that die in the line or pass away, and are crushed by their own machines as they come hurtling back to the ground, and with regards to the forces that bring them down. He certainly learned a lesson there, and as he meets his maker and the creator, etc. Hello there. Yeah, he'll probably chalk that one up and not be doing that again in many a lifetime, will he?
No. Listen, by all means, if your time's up, your time's up. It's a bit of a violent end, though, really. I don't think you deserve that.
Terminal velocity is what they call it, yeah, but he's a scientist.
It wasn't him, it was a sudden stop.
Yes, you're a bad man, but they love you for it.
No, I don't mean, I'm sorry, I know I'm not actually making light of it. Of course, I'm making a bit of a joke, but that's the truth. It wasn't the fall, it was the sudden stop. That was the problem.
We should.
I shouldn't laugh, sorry. I shouldn't be sniggering, really. It was a banner, really.
Laugh at your own jokes.
Put a bloody parachute on, mate, for Christ's sake. At least the backup, get out the canopy, do you know what I mean?
That's what I was going to say, yeah. Or...
Surely...
or have it automated. Why does man need to go up? That's another bit of the issue there, that if you're going to go up in your own homemade rocket, if it was me and I did it, you might all tut and go, well, that's just Dave. He always rushed in and, probably didn't check everything. And, but if you're an actual scientist or whatnot, you'd at least have a couple of prototypes gone up and see if they do actually work, wouldn't you, as well?
Oh, yeah.
And if you're on a budget and you can only afford one rocket and it's got to work first time, then here we go. There you go. Scientists out there, you need a big budget and you need a prototype. Yeah. I just thought, again, though, sideline, that it's with the ITV one and Mark Sargent and etc. I just thought, are they trying to distract? Is it that we're going to get a disclosure of some kind soon? Are we going to finally, is it on the cusp? Is Philip on his way to the South Pole to evoke the treaty that's never been broken? What? Go on. Oh, wow. Whilst we all struggle with potholes and large, clouds of aluminium and water.
Us worrying about just driving on the roads and there's some prick in a steam rocket killing himself.
Yeah.
What have you achieved today? Oh, dear.
It's just, we should have an institution like what we were talking about earlier on the phone, where I said, I'm not going to release it all, but I'm just some parts where I said, if there is a validated avenue for and man doesn't know how to utilize that, this was with regards to claims and liabilities and things. It says once we've done one, then we can do it on behalf of others quite well. But that's what institutions and trusts and educational avenues and that are for: learning curves, discovery, justice, dare I say it, if we had a technological area, like a medical area, a technological one, an educational one, why haven't we got that? Where is it? All of these things that man's had to go and do, and the things that we do, if we go to the academic side, as we've come to find via the Smithsonian's encumbrance of the giant skeletons and all the archaeological greatnesses that we need to know about, we just, we get left with this crummy little sweat equity theft, totalitarian tiptoe with killing machines resonating to give us cancer. Well, thanks very much, but I don't want it anymore. I don't know how you feel, Kev. Scribes.
Oh, hang on, I've just about to have a coffee fit again.
It's Kev's dying. Yeah. The planets are aligning. They are doing. Yeah, you need to give up, lad. That's what that needs to do.
Oh dear. I need to try harder, maybe. That'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh, just unbelievable what the cold air does, mate, on my lungs.
It's not that, it's the tobacco.
No, it's not. If I was sitting inside smoking, it'd be absolutely fine.
Oh yeah, I do know about the cold air. Now you've just reminded me of one frosty morning outside working at 2 a.m. when I was having a cheeky fag break that wasn't official and I rushed it and I'd give myself a coughing fit and I was nearly sick. I burnt all my throat. It was quite fantastical what a quick fag in the icy, snowy 2:30
Yeah,
a.m. morning did to me. Yeah, I don't think I smoked a fag for a good
I wouldn't.
24 hours after that.
I tell you what, if there was snow on the ground, if it was that sort of cold, I wouldn't even be able to come out it. I wouldn't even be able to breathe out it. So I'm
Bless you, Kev.
struggling now.
What you need is a bath in silver water for a year.
Yeah, something like that. Zyklon B injection.
I'm going to the room, Mr. Coffee. I'm going to the room. I've said,
All right, I'll try not to cough anymore. He said as the cough was starting. Cool, not for me, he said, shuts him right down. Excuse me.
FPV Angel and One Conscience interview. Nice, okay.
Oh, Sandra's pulled.
I have.
Right, Sandra, good to see you. Take care of yourself, darling. Love to it, family.
Good night, ciao bello, sister. I have passed a message on via Skype to Santos, somewhat scantedly, about Glosser, Romley, etc. We're at FPV now. I did notice on Romley's 2020 video some extra insight I'd like to give you, where he said if you get to, I think he said estoppel, deadlock. It wasn't deadlock. I'm sure he used the word estoppel. It's like viewed as a contract, and if you're in estoppel, then you are to be silent and we're not going to dishonour, but it's not really a contract, because as we've come to speak about contracts and so forth, we know what those are. It would be an agreement, but an agreement is where two parties they come together and one presents another,
Well,
and
no,
with an
contracts, two
agreement.
parties.
No, wait, no, two parties come together and one presents one with a written piece of paper that they've constructed on, and one of the parties signs that and agrees to that agreement. But that hasn't happened either. There's no contract. So we're going back to this what did I say, estoppel. So if you got estoppel and somebody's trying to put a claim on the person, the person, and then not that you're a person, but they think that, and then you call their bluff with the things that we've learnt to do, then they can no longer proceed with the claim of liability, enforcement, collection, order, warrant, all of this business. Never mind, we haven't been to a de jure court with a judge and a jury and been tried and convicted and found guilty, but we'll still carry on in what go on. And yes, you create the stop of the attempted collection, revenue, fines, fees, and enforcement, and that's what's called estoppel. So he didn't really go into so much depth, and he didn't even quote what book, law, year, reference this alleged contract that you go into. Now, if you want to talk about the language of silence or something like that and pregnant pauses, then we can go there and do that, because that does happen, and that's kind of the area I think he meant to go in. So when I say I don't no longer follow the Glosser channel anymore, yes, I'm watching his videos and I'm cautiously just having a look, and it was Romley that said in that video that we all teach others things, and even the trolls and the shills, so we do, and that's why we can't be arrogant and just cut noses off to spite faces. But each to their own, and you believe and do what you want. But Kev, we spoke about a non-disclosure would even be better than this alleged invisible contract agreement that doesn't exist through estoppel. We have a non-disclosure then, if you want to get out that kind of avenue.
I'll produce, if you're going to produce nothing, or you're going to make it all up out of thin air, I've actually got some paperwork here for you, which will resolve our issues amicably. If you'd just like to take a look at it, thank you very much. No, why not? As I say, this unilateral enforcement is not valid. So pull some paperwork out. Here you go then. Don't have to carry bundles of it around. A couple of 4 pages folded up. That's it. So you're giving them out 2 at a time. Don't need any more. Ask them to run you down the station to do some photocopying.
Yes.
Have you got a photocopy machine at the station? Right. I'm not talking to you or you until we've got this paperwork back at the station.
How many?
But no, as I say, we're working on that. That is, I think it's important. I say, especially if it comes to the pushing acts and statutes on you, this is exactly what it's for. If you've caused harm, injury, or loss, or deceived somebody, and they've got the evidence, then this ain't no good for you. But in other realms, in the commercial world, okay, let's contract. Let's.
I have, regarding contracts, a brother by the name of Andrew, / Divine, I believe, is written it down on the, and then that's it. So I noticed somebody had sent me a video link of which he's done, and to look at, entitled "The Knowledge the Police Require to Be Wise and Do What's Correct." So I have very little interaction with Andy. I've been on a video chat with him and John, Emma, Jason, Smithy some time ago, over a year ago, and that was very brief and somewhat full of conjecture and confusion, and ended, we're all very well, but not as we planned, and we didn't get anywhere. So that wasn't Andy's fault, and he's made this video and he's talked in there about the consent part, and consent is to be viewed as a written ink signature, in a court of law. You can prove consent by an affirmation and a fixture, of an autograph or a signature. Either way, man or person consent would be provable by documentation, consent in some way recorded. And so that would be a signature. When we ask for a warrant and so forth, we look for a judge's wet ink signature for authorization. So it's the same principle. And he said about the consent part, and I'm not going to go into it now. You can watch that. It comes up about 30 minutes into a 1 hour, 2 hour, in fact it is, video. And I've left some comments on that Scribes, just saying about the how I see it, and he's liked the comment and he's replied and given me an email to give to him. So for those of you that may see that comment, even if I don't let you know, because I know what you like and how sharp you are, I've done a little fishing exercise in essence, the master brain, and he's got a Yorkshire twang. He lives out in Greece, and Ecky Thump, he by gum, he might be all right. I don't know. I'm not judging him. I haven't got a Scooby-Doo. I don't know him from Adam, but if I can have a podcast chat with him and bring it to you, then I will do, because I think it might be good.
Yes, it sounds very interesting. Up for some of that. I was going to say, Alan, Mr. Blair, good evening.
Brother Blair, Witch. Yeah. Can we call him Witch? Blair Witch.
Atom.
That's done. I rang him.
How you doing?
Yes, I.
Lisa, no worries. Yeah, just that we happened to mention BC the other night, and that came up. There was an interesting comment put up by somebody earlier going on about UCC 1308, which was a valid point. Apart from UCC 1308 is just reserving your rights, and what the VCing is about liability. So yeah, there's a couple of interesting comments on there. I don't think I've had a response from the guy since, but he seemed to be, to me, he was like claiming the name. That's how it came across to me, that he was saying claiming the name and then using UCC 1308 to reserve all his rights, which didn't make sense to me, because if you've claimed the name, then you just slam all your rights out the window. That's exactly what you've done. So how you can then claim 1308 is confusing to me. Anyway, there you have it. But thank you, Lisa. I appreciate the comment, and I'm glad you appreciated it. As I say, just gives you a rough outline of what you're doing. It also means what one do they put on there? It's vicoactus on there, isn't it? It's also vis compulsiva. Same. It's roughly the same thing. By force, vis compulsiva or vicoactus. It's the same thing, basically. You can do them on a Latin English translation if you want, and it might give you a little bit more than I have, or look them up in Law Dictionary, something like that, and you get a better explanation. But that's basically it. It means either or, doesn't matter, under duress, basically, which you are, especially when they're saying things like, you don't sign a paperwork, we can let you out. You just VC it, okay?
I've noticed some. Thank you for that, Kev.
Sorry.
I've noticed some chat about sheriff's registrar Simon. Respect, I like Simon. He's a good. I've met him along the travels, and I think it's who I think it was previously, Ryder. But let me just go on about. He's put a comment. The registrar of each country. Hey.
Not Batty Ryder.
No. He's so bad. Bad man.
Sorry, I can't help just where the brain goes. Sorry, it's not being offensive, it's just what my brain does.
I know, murder.
Or somebody sort of, I know a word to put in front of that'll make that funnier.
That's probably why he changed it last time, if it is a move when he was on that.
What we're saying, Simon, to put something in, did you say about sheriffs?
Yes. The registrar of each county is also the sheriff. He was speaking to Jerry, and I've just done a quick search on the sheriff's office just to see. It's closed now. It opens Tuesday at 9 o'clock. 3rd floor, Linden House, Guards Avenue. Guards Avenue, eh? They just couldn't make it up, could you?
They're in Ireland, aren't they?
Caterham. Yeah, Caterham, yeah. And I was just going to say, do we know what sheriffs are, what they are? And one of the top results has got a lion, black and white, and the sheriffsoffice.com. Welcome to the Sheriff's Office, experts in debt recovery and enforcement services across all of England and Wales. Look at them. Yeah. They've got a lion, bless them. I like I do
Come
like
and collect off us, we'll see how professional you are.
The Lion of Judah. And then you've got a .gov UK, they've got a sheriff's office, all right. Then we've got the sheriffsoffice.com again. Let me see if there's any more here. We've got Wikipedia, jump to related offices of land government and medieval bailiff. Let me see, keep going. High Court Enforcement Group acquires the Sheriff's Office to create the UK's from 2016. But go on, you can just say what.
So it's all private. See, I've forgotten. That's why I have to say things when they're in my head.
It was about the sheriffs.
I was just going to say about common law that we were talking about earlier, and I was saying about that conversation I had with a guy about sort of going along the lines of UCC, and he was going, well, I understand it's outside of common law. And I said, well, none of it is. All acts and statutes are part of common law. That's where people used to get confused with, I stand under common law. Yeah, that doesn't take you outside of acts and statutes. Common law's the motherboard. And originally, acts and statutes were to fine-tune the areas where common law was a bit vague. So there was different types of assault. Different levels and that sort of thing. That's what it was for, and of course they just took it to a whole fucking new ball game with it and turned it into the raping revenue collection that it is.
Yeah, it's
Sorry, Dave.
Public and private, isn't it? And the remedy and what you knowing yourself, Plato. If you know yourself and. You can command, and you won't be trapped in. So we've covered this extensively, but public and
you being serious, mate.
Sheriffs and bailiffs. Do you know the difference between bailiffs and sheriffs? Is that important?
Well, yeah, it depends. I mean, not allowed to even call themselves bailiffs over here now, are they?
Sheriffs in England and Wales mean business, let me tell you, scribes and everybody, from my experience. And if you're dealing with a sheriff, it's highly likely that you owe either a lot of money or you've neglected one of your promises to meet in like a payment plan, scheme, schedule. But either way, dealing with a sheriff can sometimes more often be complicated than dealing with a bailiff. I prefer bailiffs to sheriffs any day of the week. It also means that you've likely have fewer rights as well. Okay, it's harder to enforce your rights with these sheriffs, and they're not just. It
Oh
depends.
yeah,
This is why it's important to ascertain who with the title ID, validate the authority, and
a
it's
little
all
bit
right
more
saying,
clout, eh?
yeah, that the land registry is a sheriff, but then what is a sheriff? What is a bailiff? What are their duties, liabilities? And what forces can they do? Can they execute warrants of? You know, if
Like
you
their protocols to follow.
if you're dealing with a sheriff, there is a likelihood, all right, everybody, that they will come into your home. They will often have a proper warrant that
Fix it.
will be granting them access. This is what I mean. And should you refuse,
Hey,
they are at liberty to use the reasonable force, of what they use, force of law, and the rule of law to gain this alleged entry,
colour
non-peaceful.
of law.
Yeah, non-peaceful entry. They will then try to, let's say, for want of better, levy items that they will sell to cancel out your alleged debt or the person's alleged liability and debt. And to avoid, this, we should also remember that council tax is how this is coming into play. Mostly not because we're criminals, not because we go out there and we get caught red-handed in blood. Oh, no, no, no. It's this is a realistic IRL in real life. These appointed gangsters of the Club of Rome, from London, is the bailiffs. They have more limited rights, but will often try to make out that they are allowed to. We know they've got limited rights. We limit their rights. We de-enforce that. We advise that you do hold discussions with them at some point. Communications. Uh, Good Lord, windows and letterboxes is all I'll say. Don't open doors, that's one thing I will give
Yeah,
you. And should you always ask for ID? Yes, you should. And if they don't give you an ID or a warrant, then they are halting proceedings. That's the first thing. If you say they can't record them, well, get out the public realm then and go into private if you want to go and stop being recorded. Walk
speak to them through a
away.
window. Speak to
Letter,
them through a little.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
something.
don't open the door. Especially if you're asking them for ID. You might have obscured glass on your door, so go to a window. If you've got a small opener at the top, you just crack that open and speak to them through that. And then if you don't like it, that's it. But I would say don't even interact with them. That's the best way.
Yeah, we're not
You
giving
shouldn't be
legal
banging on the
advice.
door.
We're
No,
just having a chat, but
yeah,
yeah.
just ideas here and thoughts. Personally, I would not speak to them at all. Would not interact with them whatsoever.
The sheriff, you see, though, deals directly with orders
Yeah,
handed out from
obviously,
High Court. This is
sheriffs.
a bailiff thing.
Sorry,
Yeah, yeah, come on, yeah, this is
sheriffs is a bit different. I was
bailiffs. You were
bailiffs.
saying that's
Sorry.
what I'm pointing that out. I'm just covering it
Yeah,
by
sorry.
saying, yeah,
All right. Calm yourself
yeah,
down, love. Oh dear, had
hey,
a long day, have you?
hey.
Hard day at work, darling.
So this is not
Cup
good.
of
Yeah.
tea.
Bailiffs tend to be what? Where would you say they come from? The county court area or private firms mostly?
But
This is not a high court sheriff. A bailiff generally comes from an area of. They have to be certified.
I tell you where they come from. Fucking Mordor. That's where
Mhm.
they come from. Don't fucking courts are bollocks. It's all bollocks. Why are we even? That's right. Get it into your heads, everybody. High court, fucking low court, fucking tennis court.
But wait. All
Badminton
right.
court.
We get it. Listen, because I'm going to forget. I'm going to do a Kev, and
Yeah, quick.
a quick note for anybody like Nonna, Jonas, and others that live in Scotland. We never managed to successfully ever answer with clarity and conclusion, full stop, what the police and the sheriffs and differences up that way. Well, I can recall from memory, like for the Scottish Northern Fam clan, if you've been contacted by a sheriff, then you perhaps shouldn't need and worry as much, because in what I've found out in Scotland, a sheriff is a bailiff, okay? But this is weird. I don't know why, but this is, if you can help me here, I've seemed to have worked out and found that they call a bailiff a sheriff in Scotland. Anybody up that way? But I need info on this. If you get approached,
There's all
wait,
sorts of weirdness up
because
there, though.
if well, hear me out. If you get approached by a messenger at arms, I said again, a messenger at
Yeah.
arms. However, you may need to be a little more concerned, fam. I rest my I yield.
Yes. I know it's different up there because I know, or I've certainly been told several times, that there's no trespass laws up there.
All right.
So you can't implied rights of access removal and all that. Don't quote me on that, but there's somebody, there's a girl I helped out for quite a while. I still speak to her occasionally. And yeah, several times she's said to me about the trespass. I said, well, you know, she's worried about turning up. And I said, well, implied rights. She said, no, we can't do that. There is no trespass laws as such up there like we have. Not that it usually makes any difference with bailiffs or sheriffs, whatever you want to call them, but I know it's different up there with the powers. It is different the way it's all.
Well, I want to bring you something about the messenger at arms next. I am leading on before we shut down, and something with some guts and substance with the, because this is for man on the earth. We're talking about the environment, the conditioning, the sidelining, the arbitrarily injected dialogue, and the legalese and. Originally known as the Officer of the King, the office of Messenger at Arms dates back several hundred years. Scotland, it does. Messengers at Arms have been under the control of Lord Lyon, King of Arms, since at least 1510. I'm like, well, he's got to be pretty old now then in 2020. How old is Lord Lyon? Where is he? I'm just joking. And still appointed by Lord Lyon. Okay, so this is how old it is. 1510. There's the 3 and 2 ones though. 15, 3, 10 in digital 24 hour. Now on the recommendation, it was the Court of Session to execute these summonses and letters of diligence connected with the Court of Session and the High Court of Justiciary. It was one of them Justiciary. It was definitely CIARI, Justiciary. And you've got, there's a lot of stuff that I found under the Scottish Civil Enforcement Commission when you say about that common law that ties in with that. So it's very much different. Going back to 1510, I'll leave it there. I was like lost in it all. Wow, massive.
Yeah, Alan, I do believe I've got your number. I'm going to give you a call tomorrow, mate. So hold tight. Well, I need to obviously have a chat with you, mate, and see what's going on. I know there's a few things down here that you know we can use the local authority, but we need to see if you've got similar protections up there. Not that but let's have a chat, mate. I can't quote you a timer yet tomorrow, to be honest. To be fair, I think I've got about two, 3 people with you. I've got a call, so that could encompass a whole day. That's the reality of that. That could be 9 hours of talking on the phone, 3 calls. Anyway, so I haven't forgotten you, mate, and I will be in contact at some point tomorrow. Then you've mentioned that it's Walker Love, private contractor. Well, private contractors, as I say, even if they're calling themselves sheriffs, you get into a whole area of, well, what exactly can they do? Once it goes private, it's a whole different kettle of fish. They try to act like they're what a sheriff should be by the rule book in Scotland, but they won't be. Just bailiffs. So
Scottish law. Scottish law, isn't it? That's
as I say, it's a whole. As far as I'm aware, it's. I don't know if it's so massively different, but I know it's different enough up there. So I don't feel able enough without more info to really say much on the subject. I don't know enough. So I think
I've got
things are different.
something else that's for the scribes and for you if you're interested. Check out July the 18th of 1536 as well. Just because the English Parliament may have passed an act, they call it a law, but it's an act titled "An Act Extinguishing the Authority of the Bishop of Rome." In relation to comments the scribes put about in 2011, the Pope such and such sheriffs in the UK, England. This was, in fact, one of the series of acts which had been passed during the previous 4 years, severing England from the Pope and the Roman Catholic Church. And I found that out in about July 2017 in the history of the lineages of the research and discovery I've done extinguishing the Pope's power in England. It was like, what, I'm not saying that's the only thing that's happened since then. That was 1500s, all right, a lot's passed then, and we've had it since, other such things, but amazing things when you look at history. We certainly were a strong old clever band of merry men at one point, and something somewhere came in and went biddy biddy biddy, nanu nanu, more calling Norson, and here we are with the tiptoe of doom. Sorry.
Can I?
Go on.
I've just read Andy Devine's. I've heard about it. We haven't discussed it. I think David and I may have passed a few words about it earlier, but I've not seen the ruling. Yes, I've heard about it, Andy.
Oh, is he here? Is he in the scribe?
Yeah,
Is he in the room?
I've gone back a little bit, but he was in the room. Yeah.
All right, let's have a look.
Nice to see you, mate.
Easy. Word travels fast. Look at that. The scribes are letting that's not happen by accident. Respect. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, not that far back. I don't know. Sorry, I've gone back a bit.
22:39.
Yeah, it's only a few minutes ago. Still,
easy.
Plenty of time enough to bore anybody.
Sorry, I didn't mean to butt in. Bosh. Go on, carry on. What? Have you carry on? What was you saying? I can read it now. No actual statute that has been forced on we the people. I'm a man, not a people. But you can. I'm not here to argue. That's why I said.
There's a correct. He's put a correction a little bit below. It says without the
legal and.
I've lost it. Yeah.
But
without correct consent. That's what it is. Oh, hello.
Without. Not should. So yeah, I'd like to have a chat if we could, Andy. I've just said big up to you. I've just said you seem like a nice brother. I was once briefly on the video chat with you, Emma, Andy, a few Jason and John. So yeah, I'd like to chew the cud. You've got a nice dialect twang, and maybe Kev, me and you. I don't want to overload you, but I was sent some of a link to that video that I mentioned about what they should know, what the police should know, or something was it called? The knowledge.
Good to see this.
There you go. The police require to be wise, and I've just put that comment on about how it seems to work and what we found in our discoveries, the underhanded, constructed, construed, implied, presumed nastiness that we're in. So we are setting about. We have set about correcting them, haven't we, Kevin? We've done quite a lot of the scribes, the viewers here, the initiates have done a lot. We've got testimonials, so now it's time to I don't know, expose these private corporations with their listings or unlisted or registered or unregistered, and how they seem to condescend upon these rights. And we don't have rules such as he who doesn't know he has any rights has no rights, and ignorance is no defense. Well, all right, how many laws are there or acts that we need to know of? Well, there's 60 million thereabouts. Well, I can't remember 60 million. I love my numbers and stuff, but that's I'm out for that reason. We no longer wish to engage. Consent is withdrawn indeed. Kev?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. Don't want to play that game anymore. We're withdrawing from any agreements you think we had.
And if I'm not privy to Baron David Ward's citation or anything, but I am interested in it. That's another reason why it wasn't just the consent. I can go on about the mandated things of Westminster, but
Andy at the moment.
Go on, Kev.
In a certain area, exactly where we've sort of laid down enough wrote and they properly hung themselves, and now we've narrowed it down, or narrowing it right down. So we're just about to make an approach solely on the consent, lack of disclosure, and the handing down of certain health requirements to fucking idiots, etc. So yeah, consent. Anyway, nice to have you in the room. If you're still here, I think you might shut off now.
No, he should be here. He's in Greece.
He's cool.
He's 2 hours in front, I think. Is it 2 hours in front out there? Yasu Philly. I hope I spelt my Greek okay. Tikanis. It's now Kalinicta. I know that much, and I need to. It's too many languages in this confused language of Babel. For he shall confuse the people, the men, by turning their language into Babel. Now let's look at this English of ours, and these affidavits. Well, I am David, and DVD in the traditional without the what is it now, the vowels, when they wrote the scriptures and stuff without the vowels and stuff. So it's down to this fine way that we've come to understand etymological referencing and the languages and the roots and the meaning and the definitions. Like, who brings out a dictionary every 10 years because we change the rules of the meaning of the word? That's hardly fair, is it? That in itself is fuckery. What?
Can I just say, can I just jump in a sec?
Yeah, go.
Say something to Alan. Yeah, Alan, if you've got a letter, if you're about tomorrow at some point, I'll give you a call, mate, and I'll have a listen to what you've done, where you're at, what's going on, and then we'll adjust anything you've done, add some bits if you want. You can get that in the post, mate. So if you just hang on till tomorrow, brother, and I'll be with you.
Yeah, I'd spoke to him and given him some pointers, returned an email, sent him the maxims of equity, had a look at some videos, and it's just like void orders, if they haven't followed the certain elements and they've skipped parts, or they've gone against the CPR, and you can prove that. Then if something, I'm not an expert in this, but hypothetically, from what I've read and seen and heard, then if we're going to shout void order at any time, then when an order is given from the de facto of facts, non-de jure, due process, non-judicial process, arbitrary governance there, they've done everything to the letter according to their system and their rules. And it's when we find out that they haven't followed the CPR, or there's a breach, or there was mitigation before the litigation and the mitigation was valid but overlooked and whatever, which is what we find a lot, Kev. You can't say we don't. Then we go to find out there's been litigation and enforcement and sanctioning and etc. It's too late then, but then we've got injured parties here and these are innocent. So we are finding that through the dexterity of all this, that there are void orders given. Listen, tribunals have been given orders, decrees, decisions, because it's in-house and it's all to keep the proverbial balloon from blowing up in the face full of eggy custard. So they keep it in-house, and they don't even act on their own rules and regulations, and even the ones that regulate them, much like the jet streams up above regulate with the temperature, us down here. It's all going to shizen, honestly. And this language that they use when they talk to us, mixed tongues of Babylon, Latin, legalese, English, and parse syntax and admiralty and coloured pens. It's just got beyond a joke, you know what I mean? And they are suffering, allowing and enduring this, with our consent, and it does rely on that, and I won't argue it, but there's a hell of a lot more in the mix, and they're giving out void orders left, right, and centre, and they're being enforced. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, Kev. Let's go to the room and start wrapping up.
Have you told them your beneficiary, Alan? That's where you should be in this, mate. Ultimately.
Have you put your street name in here, you silly man? You don't ever disclose. As much as I love you all, no man should ever disclose. There's weirdos out there. There's ones out there that just I don't know, sell data, if that's all they do. That's in itself. It's what do we call it, Kev? Sensitive data.
Sensitive data.
Come on, it's in there. It's locked in.
Thanks, Gandhi.
Yeah.
Should have. I'm hoping to have a letter by the end of the week. Just
Alan.
getting myself all excited.
Oh God, I bet you are. Wait, I'm just seeing because Alan seems. Yeah, you give him a chat, a call tomorrow, and I've already called him and give him some emails and some
Well,
pointers.
I think we need to. Is this over money, Dave?
This is over the local arm of the government making claims and losing homes, so it will be due to accounts and charges.
Right, so
yes.
accounting a serious dispute immediately.
He's done a lot of work, and it's to do with property and accounts and claims being made. Yeah, he's put quite a lot in the chat actually, so it's no need for me to redact anything.
No.
It's happening. Listen, I see them living in tents, and what's going off, and you see them all over in every city. So he's put that he wants somebody who is able to sit down with him and look at what he has so far, and some assistance putting the rest of it together before it's too late and I no longer have a home. So that is like pulling at my heartstrings. That's one of the saddest, most. I know it's genuine and honest, but I'm just saying that's. In this where we are, why haven't we got the resources to do? We can do telephone calls, we can do emails, but at the end of the day, he's one of hundreds of thousands of potential. I'm not using you, Alan. This isn't you specifically, but to some people, man's beneficiaries, etc. We're at ease, aren't strong like this and can't fight, and they end up in a very bad way just for a few administrative hiccups. When we are the creditor, we are as king, we are the sovereigns, and yet we are being numbers on a statistic board due to. It's just sickening. So Alan, my heart goes out to you, and it pains me greatly that we do not have somebody in every city, a Kevin, a Dave, and a trust and a facility and resources to do exactly that, to take the authority to deal with the liabilities on your behalf or some other's behalf and accept it and go down and fight it and win it and get all the claims and the money and build it up like that and show others what we do. But we just aren't at that point yet. So it's not through neglect and it's not through selfishness, it's through the way that we are at the minute, and I devote and dedicate as much of my free time as I can individually, like I did and we have done and Kev will do, but the .com and Hangouts and your community are the way to resource it up. The resources are the key, and we have none of them. So I'm sorry for that, and that's one of the saddest messages that I've read all year, for those reasons. And I'll hand it over to Kev. Sorry.
Oh, thanks.
I'm still reading the room. Simon and Jerry, good. Lisa, does England have common law citizen arrest option? Yes, it does. It has a citizen arrest option. It is under the common law of the land. Yeah, America does from your medieval times. Thank you, sister. Vendetta says, where about are you on your journey, Dave? You're moving.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Ooh, it's moving too fast. Well, that was a nice tune, that. Get your dirty hands off of me. Was that it? Sliding, moving too fast. What a tune that was. DJ'd that many a time, sorry.
Yeah.
I forget the artist though. That is going to kick me till I sleep. Quantum grammar, sentence structure. Quint, Alan. There you go, boy.
Artful Dodger, wasn't it?
Was it? It could have been.
Anyway, yes. Oh, it's all gone quiet. That was a terrible pause. Okay.
Oh, I'm still
back in the room, Kev. Back in the room.
I'm digesting.
You're live. Remember, you're live. You're not just chilling and talk to Dave.
yes. Oh,
dear. No, Alan, don't worry, mate. We'll have a chat. As I say, I know down this end there is. I've got it down somewhere. the local authority have a duty, for you not to lose your home, etc., etc. But I don't know what you might have up there, but it's certainly not difficult to look shit up, quite frankly. So probably wouldn't take us more than half an hour to an hour to discover if you've got something similar up there. Should it be different? There's lots of things we can do. We should be, pretty confident we should be able to do something to put a stop to it, to buy some time, I would think. So that's how I feel, but as I say, how they react to it.
Yeah, this is it. We're at the mercy of when you're in the social housing state, and there are rules, and we go for international. How we stop things immediately would be human rights, but then they'll say, well, what we'll do is we evict from here, and we have temporary accommodation here, and then from here we do this, and it's not desirable. You've got belongings, and you've got things that you can't, that you've got to get out by this date, and it's absolutely life destroying what these administrative incorrect accounting systems are doing. It's not just you losing your home, you're losing your life, man. It fractures you. It breaks, man, to some extent. I'm not saying this is Alan, but what we've seen and what we've come to learn is just because,
as I say, it's the collateral damage, isn't it?
God,
the
Lord.
aftershock.
The families, children, schools, friends, homes, possessions, mental state. It goes on, and it happens like that in the blink of an eye, in weeks, months. But it takes years and years to build back up. And when you're in these council situations, sometimes you're facing your head down a loaded cannon. I'm not being negative. We have to go for like international human rights and breaches and duties and obligations, and I've given him quite a bit there, and I've had a look at what he's got, so to speak, so far. So it's not the end of the road, but we do need to collect and see, I suppose.
Anthony's commenting about the Pope removing all sheriff's powers in England and Wales and all the rest of it. But have you looked at motu proprio, which is even more powerful than that? Have a look at that, mate. Motu proprio.
Yeah, I'll do the Italian. What's let me scroll down to the bottom. Let me catch up. He who makes the order pay. Yes, what
I'm
we
just
got
getting
here?
in there.
I can get a link up with me and David to put the cards on the table. Transparency period. Yes, that will ding dang do. That's magic. That is. Oh, nice one, Andy. Thank you, brother. That's for the family. It's not for me. It's not for my scribes. It's not for views. It's not for mentioning the .com. It's just a chat, just to say, well, what go on. We will share with anybody anything, but folk, man, movements, intellectual law compositions are somewhat reluctant to speak to us, aren't they, Kev? It seems sometimes, and we like to chat, don't we, brother?
Just a little bit, yeah. Christ. I don't think we've ever done a quick chat, have we? Well, a couple of times, but mostly an hour or more every time we bloody speak. Which is nice, because it's just chilled. It's nice when it's like that, but we could probably do that 2 or 3 times a day and lose an hour every time.
I can do it in my sleep.
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to say, Alan, Mr. Blair, I will definitely speak to you tomorrow, because I'm picking up things that I need more info on, and obviously the info I need, we need to keep in the private. So we will talk tomorrow. I'll ring you if you answer, brilliant. If not, call me back, and I'll keep trying and annoy the hell out of you till you answer. Andy was still here, he says, Mr. Divine.
You were fixing.
Yeah, we are in it all together, Andy. Absolutely right, mate. The trouble is there's still so much division, and all of these different groups. That basically, we all are on the same path. That still can't just grasp it and just go, hang on a minute, because it is the biggest. Their biggest fear is us all coming together, and even, the whole thing is just still so divided. It's pathetic. And then in the next breath, you've got people going, oh, we just need to do all this and not fight. We just all come all for the same cause. And then 2 minutes later, you're a fucking idiot. You don't know this. That's all bollocks. You're wrong. Don't believe. What? You know, it's just saying the hypocrisy. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. You know, we are all on the same path. We've all ultimately got the same heart. So can't we just work with the heart stuff and forget all the bollocks and name calling and you're wrong and we're right, and well, let's pull everything. Maybe if we pull everything, come together. But no chance. Can't have that. The peasants are revolting.
And they smell pretty bad too.
They stink as well.
Nice one. That was beautifully put. Let's not distract from the point there. Yeah, in the beginning, my anger towards this system, when I said to you earlier, I expressed a moment of when you realise certain things, you are angry, and your ego, you have to learn to control. I'm 40 something now, born 78, from the waters of my mum. I'm aware of my words, but we're at ease. And it's not till you have a few beatings and your ego gets beaten a bit, and you make a few mistakes in your youth of which you will never make in your latter maturer years. So there is a curve, and there is an amount of the battering of the ego, and by coming out and doing the works and helping people, brothers, sisters, family, clansmen, initiates, sovereigns, constitutionalists, patriot, we don't mind what label they give themselves. We view you all the same, and we have no accreditation or affiliation with except you and what's around us. And we've looked extensively all over, and now we've had the kind support and grace of a certain few lucky meetings and chats and feedbacks and appointments. We're in a very strong place, and there are sad times ahead. I have a daughter here and a family, and I'm conscious of the future and where we are, and this debt and the monetary things and honour and legal and law. And I see a slaughter. The ones of us that have the eye, the ones of us that are privy, have quite a burden, because we see some potential outcomes. I'm not trying to scare anybody within the future. And when these conglomerate corporate banks that are bailing out countries, a bank bailing out a country, imagine, it does happen, and countries masquerading as countries when the banks and all of this, it comes to something where we have to stand up. And previously the weapons and the articulation and the instruments and whatever we was given was inferior, and it was directly manipulated and mixed jurisdictions and mal-fed. And what we've learned is we've learned to comprehensively now through our works and doings summarise where we're at, and others are doing the same. And if we can just now find this last little bit of the puzzle, I think we could have a very good shindig like the nose. Is it and the bloodshed? I'm now focusing in on the intention of this weaponry, the armor of God, or whatever you want to call it, the equitable divine consciousness, self in motion. What we need to look at is the thing that struck chords, other than 10 people dying every X amount of days waiting for personal independent payments from the Department of, and etc. being highlighted. Care orders. When a young girl is found by the Met Office to be needing to be looked at allegedly by that International Crime Commission review that I brought you with Brother John on, when they find out they're in a care home, they get written off. And I'm like, wow, this is really, blood is not business, blood is not money, justice is not profitable, and all of this. And these are when you read these and you research the scriptures and the scholars and the writings and the prophecies, they all say the same shit. They say when shit goes bad, it's the end times. Man will be evil, man will be not loving, man will be selfish, man will be vengeful, man will be lustful, man will... And I'm like, hang on a minute, this ticks everything. Well, man, we're here. Hello, ding dong, I yield.
Just when I thought you were going to keep going.
No, I ran out of breath.
I just chill for an hour. Yeah, one breath that was, people. He's amazing. See, Dave's got all. They know where all my lung capacity got. Dave's stolen it.
I'd pop hot water bottles for the
See?
crack.
Sitting inside, no coffee, nothing. See?
Let's start wrapping up, Scribes, Kev. I am very tired.
Oh,
and,
yeah, it's cracking. Oh, bloody hell, it's 12 again.
Yes,
For a Monday night. And it was only a random. I would just nip on. Oh, you and I have been on the phone for much longer, haven't we? Jesus.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's good.
Yeah, Andy, we'll sort something out. We'll let's hook up, have a chat, 3 of us, 4 of us, whatever, and let's see what's what and who's going where and why. That'd be excellent, mate. More than happy to do that. Hey, Dave.
Spread the love, Scribes to Scribes. I was looking at in the video. I'm up to about 34 minutes, 40 minutes into that video that I mentioned that was sent to me by a scribe to have a look at, and I liked it. I think I haven't finished watching it, so I haven't liked it, but I subscribed to Andy's channel, and then yes, I'm interested in what can be said and where we're going, and yeah, I've got the rest of it to watch there, so. Yeah, it should be. We're not. We've got an objective or a specific title, in hand or whatever. It can be whenever, but just a chance to bounce off. And I looked through as I was watching, and I didn't recognise a single name in the list. And I thought, this platform's just so massive. We're not utilising it enough. We've got all the connectivity. Marcus Garvey amassed how many hundreds of thousands, millions before the internet, before Twitter, before. Wow, man's done some great things, and we've got an abundance of shitload of excellent tech, and we can't seem to have a chat and sort something out as the 99% or whatever. It's a shambolic setup. So respect to Andy, much love, and thanks for coming on and taking the time. Sacrificing out of your day. We respect that, and yes, I Scribes, it's on. Kev, we're on. Look.
Excellent. Lisa, yeah, we're up. My carer will be round to tuck me into bed in a minute and give him a tablets.
Bless you.
Nice one, Lisa.
So what she said.
Yeah, Quinn. The threat is to make you react. Yeah, and we don't react. We respond. Don't react. Respond.
Yeah.
But yeah, they get you in the game. Yeah, you could usually shut the game down, or you can usually shut the game down for at least 6 months with one letter. Buy yourself a lot of time, and then.
Yeah, but we need to also recognise, yeah, you're right, but there are also more serious things where we have a stronghold, we have a foreign force and a language, and arbitrarily injected everything, religion, dialogue, system of. It's all sinful. We've found the correct dialogue and speeches of not for anything other than the remedy, but the KJV and the equitable access there. We've done a lot of groundwork. We've encompassed others that have done a lot of groundwork, and we should be proud of where we're at. We have no resources, and if one man is going to come out and profess as the vicar of Christ with the Romanus Pontifex and say through the ages, that is some brass neck. And all right, the doctrine of notices, we honour that, and it lies at the heart of equity, and yes, it's useful, but it's still bullshizing, and it's not ours, and it's not God's, it's not the creator, it's not divine, it's not the natural order of. And so for that reason it must go at some point. We need to learn to work in unison. These civilizations that we see and that we find, lots of them, I'm not going to mention them all, you can pick one, a few of them, they all operated using the forces of and naturally and in lines with. It's only us recently that have gone the opposite way, and we're even turning on ourselves, which is the even sadder thing, for stupid, like women's rights, women's liberation. Oh God, I'm daring here, the closing down bit, but
Steady.
women, ladies, females, the omegas, French, tradition, nannies, mums, family setup, dad, sired loins assets, and the tradition, custom, and practice is you have a nanny, an au pair, etc. So mum has offspring and then gives to a lady, another lady to look after with instructions and demands. It's a commercial setup. This isn't really a trust. It's proper. It is a trust of sorts, yeah, but it's more commercial and set up and embedded for, yes, with the nanny living in, and that lady 90% of the time, from what I've seen, and I haven't seen a lot of French nannies and setups, but I've been privy to a chat and research of, and it turns out that these women that claim, rights and men and the male world and how it is, and certain traits that men have, which is true, and I'm not here to defend that. What I'm saying is that women have started to realise that within their own world and realms and goings on, they are attacking one another after only just getting the acknowledgement, the strength, the rights, the independence. This is not me speaking. This is historical timelines and where we're at. And then you get the French lady hiring a French lady and treating her like shit. Because why? And the working out that the study is showing that this is breaking. This is not happening as much now. It's we are evolving on many levels, but that was just one good example to use for how we are turning on each other. But we have stopped doing it mostly, and we are learning different, more respectful, loving, equilateral. The equilibrium of the universe, the stars, the energies, and all of this, the alchemy, the laws of equal exchange. We are consciously. I am feeling. There is a light at the end of this tunnel, fam, and I yield.
No, Andy's and we knew you weren't Greek, Andy. We just know that's where.
Oh God, yeah.
You reside. We know you're not Greek, mate. It's all right.
There you go. No.
Been around, We know who you are.
Yeah. We do that. Yeah, just having banter. It's just a bit of fun. Yeah. I'm not Greek. I have a little lineage of Greek, Italian, Irish, English, but DJ now in an island and living with a Greek family. Then yeah, you pick it up a bit and. You do it to be polite more than anything, don't you? And then it just sticks with you.
Yep.
The lingo. So yeah, any more comments in the room or anything to wrap up with? I've
just having a look at that.
Lisa saying we're sort of past our bedtimes. Thank you, sister.
Yeah.
True, it is.
She's right. Although we could be, if given half the chance, we'd be really bad and stay up longer, but no. Not tonight.
Look at Jerry's breaking down of the words. So it's not fair. I'm where are we here? Mo charade for you, Dave, to pronounce. It's Iha wa mu kia di and tu. Babble is good night, my friends. Jerry, that is fantastic. Thank you,
Nice
brother.
one, Jerry.
The care that you put it that they do. All right, brother. Let's see. I'm scanning them. Then we're getting off. Then thank you all for the chat. An hour and a half. That weren't bad. 98 minutes of joy. Peace out.
Excellent.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Andy.
cheers, Andy. That's the last comment in there, mate. Yeah, see that.
Thank you, Alan, Quinn, Lisa, Andy. Yeah, that was. There's been a lot in tonight. Simon was it as well. I remember Jerry, Leo. I saw earlier.
Great effort.
Say that again.
Jerry's comment now just made me laugh. He's having a little chat. He goes, Quinn, Simon, Kev, great effort, Dave. Just made me laugh.
Oh, because he's on about the language when I just read his comment out and how he broke the symbolic.
Yeah. But it's just the way I read it.
Thanks for coming. You were great. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, that's right. Let's have it next time.
Oh, that's what my boss
Brilliant.
used to say to me about. Yeah.
I've just had some oil and hold my mouth buggered now.
Thank you, Scribes. It has been fun. Alan, you've got incoming tomorrow. Brother Kev.
Yeah, it's going to be afternoon onwards, mate. I'll be honest. I'm not even starting with phone calls till 11. I've got 2 other people free, and then you.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you, Quinn.
Yeah, night everybody. Much love to you all. Thanks for joining us on the fly like it was. So yeah, much appreciated.
I will
enjoyed
email.
it for what it was.
I will email brother Andy tomorrow, and after the close of play, evening time, and we'll say hello and what, and
Yeah.
I'll let you know, Kev. All right, brother. Nice
All
one,
right,
Andy.
no worries.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all. It was fun.
All right, Alan, I got you, mate. Yeah. So it won't be late. I mean, if you're out, if it's easier in the evening, just tell me. So it gets a bit awkward for me between sort of 4:30 and 8:30 as a bit of a period where I can't do a lot, but I could always talk to you in the evening if you wanted to. But if you're around tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to give you a guess of about 2-3 o'clock. I would say it could be a bit earlier, mate. I might be able to finish my other stuff earlier, but I doubt that will happen, knowing what David and I know the phone calls are going to be a couple of hours long each. Easy. Easy.
Oh yes, right. The equilibrium, the balance needs restoring in all our bodies, the giving, the taking.
Hello.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Yes, I thank you all. Much love, light, and remember to balance your busy, hectic. I love the way some of the people, scribes that I speak to. There's a South African guy, Lyndon, and he's always like hectic, and when different words folk use, we speak, and it is time to, I'm trying to consciously. Well, it's not so much consciously now. I've got my biorhythms into a equilibrium. The equinoxes of my day, the evening and the mornings, and the caffeine fueled times that I had. I've been on a bit of a diet. I'm gonna, when it comes to summertime and I go away to Hungary, I'll show you the effect of my purging the sugars and the fats. So I'm not a saint, but I've made a conscious effort over the last year and a bit to control the chemical and the content and the diet and the balance, because I thought I don't want energy like this when I'm 60, or what if I can't move at some point and I end up in a chair? How am I going to be content with just whatever, a board game, or it won't happen. I need to be mobile and healthy. So I thought I'd do some tests, and I've been balancing.
Your body breaks, you're buggered, aren't you?
I couldn't cope.
You might as well go on the smack.
Oh, good lord.
I can't get anywhere. My brain's going 900 miles an hour. Fuck this.
In Hungary, that's a type of squeezable cheese. I'm sure it is. I did comment, have a little laugh at smack, squeezable cheese. Wow, the world and its words again. But the balance, the equilibrium is key in your heart's emotions and everything. It's not easy. Kev knows more, than I. No, I'm joking. But just do what you can and stay, sovereign, loving, etc. Thank you all. Kev, you want to say out else before we go?
I'll just say good night to everybody. To say thanks again for a sort of a random, out of nowhere, non-planned one. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, Alan, we'll see it pans out. As I say, if it's going to be a late one, I'll text you and say, look, mate, I'll call you after 8. But otherwise, I will attempt to call you mid-afternoon. We'll see what happens, mate. Yeah, go from there. What night is it tomorrow? Tuesday night. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Sorry, let's have a think then. Thursday. I can't. I'm going out Thursday. One time in the last, I don't know. I remember the last time I left the house weeks ago.
Yeah, you old spinster.
You spinster.
He's come out with me, that's it. He's got too used to coming out on tube and turned into a hermit.
Yeah.
I've isolated you.
Mad great to go out. No, it's just don't much act. No, say it drives me mad being stuck in here, but
You see,
out's
that's
a pain in the arse.
it's part of the balance of life. You see, that's it. When you're inside, you've got these, like, even electricity. You know, when I mentioned gadgets and vibrations earlier, I know we're shutting down, but it's relevant. You don't get out of the house, and you feel, you know, there's conditions man has that makes them agoraphobic, for one, if that's right. After my Olympics in Birmingham, I'm being extra careful all night. Trust me. Oh man. But you have these conditions and we don't go out, and the electricity, let me just loop back in, the electricity that we have for the AC power supply system of the 220 to 240 volts that comes through every UK plug socket, as I cast out now with brother Kevin you. Now that frequency, hertz resonance, is interfering with your body. What? Yes, I know. It's as if they did it by design. You'd think so, wouldn't you? I know. The list grows ever bigger. We continue.
You're
So
paranoid.
when you there's a signal that piggybacks that, and the TV signal. I could go on for hours about this. I really have been disgusted by the unnatural formats of the resonance, because they know we're frequency, light and resonance, and that's the key to this you know, reality being an illusion in our real lives. And this is just key, just to get out and breathe. I know it may be chemtraily, smoky, whatever, not nice air where you are, but just to get out. And it's so horrible where we are. You know, you probably need a mask now because of coronavirus. God Lord, just stay in. Everyone, just stay in. In fact, I redact it all. Stay in.
The zombie apocalypse is upon us.
But yeah, it is key. It is good to get out when there's not a virus raging around. And yeah, I don't know what continent you're on. You see, it's not good to go out for a walk, because the next time you come on, it will be Dave, Kev. Well, I went out, and now I'm, you know, God forbid it, but I can see it in the future. You've got to be so careful, on here. Oh, bless you soul.
Dear.
Somebody pray for us, won't you, before you get to sleep tonight? Thank you all. Thank you for your
Can't play enough
recommendation.
for me. Sorry, it's too late.
Quinn's playing Batman, dinner, Fat
Oh,
Man's. Yes, thank you, Quinn. Hyper
that's Rob.
sensitivity. Thank you, Alan. It is indeed electromagnetic hypersensitivity. Indeed, it is.
Twat and knob. Know about that, Rob.
On that lovely note, we're going. Thank
Yes.
you, tech
Well done,
giant.
Kevin, for lowering the tone just as we're ending it.
Stop speaking about ends. Good night, bless.
Oh,
Thank you.
behave yourself. Night all.
Ciao.